Lesson 6, Part 1, the plurals of nouns. As we've seen before, nouns have many forms in Greek. We've learned two for each declension so far, the nominative singular and the accusative singular. Today, we're going to learn the forms for the nominative plural and accusative plural. To form these in each declension for each gender, start with the nominative singular, remove the ending, and add the new ending. We're going to start to see our nouns listed in a chart to help make them easier to organize. We will be adding two more lines between the nominative and accusative, but this is what it looks like for now. In the second declension masculine, we have the singular column and a plural column, nominative on the top and accusative on the bottom. So the masculine singular nominative for the second declension is os, masculine singular accusative is on, masculine plural nominative is oi, and masculine plural accusative is us. In the second declension neuter, now remember, the nominative and accusative are always the same in the neuter. The nominative and accusative are always the same in the neuter. You can see that the singular and plural are different, but the nominative and accusative in the singular are the same, and the nominative and the accusative in the plural are the same. So the neuter singular nominative is on, and the neuter singular accusative is on. Neuter plural nominative is neuter plural accusative is and that's all for second declension neuters. We will find some third declension neuters in Greek too. For first declension feminines, for the feminine singular nominative, we can either have a or a. For the feminine singular accusative, we can either have on or ein. For the feminine plural nominative, we have I. Now, it doesn't matter if the noun ends in a or if the noun ends in a. The plural is going to be I. So take off the a and add I, or take off the a and add I. The feminine plural accusative is os. And again, that doesn't matter if it's an a verb or an a verb, it's going to be os for the plural. And remember, bold means memorize. So you need to memorize these new endings. Note, for the first declension feminine, over here, it doesn't matter which ending the noun has in the singular, the alpha or the eta, it will have I and os in the plural. Here are some words for an example. So second declension masculine, singular nominative would be logos, masculine singular accusative is logon. Masculine plural nominative is logoi, masculine plural accusative is logus. In the second declension for neuter, the singular nominative is teknon and the singular accusative is teknon. Neuter plural nominative, tekna, neuter plural accusative, tekna. Remember, in the neuter, the nominative and accusative are always the same. For the first declension feminine, in the singular nominative, we have doxa, and the singular accusative, we have doxon. For the feminine plural nominative, we have doxai. For the feminine plural accusative, we have doxos. And again, this is an example of an alpha, and we end up with I and os. Here's an example of one with eta. First declension, feminine singular nominative, phone, singular accusative, phonein. Feminine plural nominative, phonai, feminine plural accusative, phonas. Note how even though this was an eta over here, we still have I and os over here. Remember, plural means more than one. In English, we do this by adding s to most of our nouns. So logos and logon mean word. Logoi and logus mean words. Teknon means child, and tekna means children. There's an example of where we can't just add an s, but you probably know that pretty well already. Doxa and doxon mean glory. Doxai and doxos mean glories, though that does sound a little funny sometimes to make that plural. We don't make that plural in English very often. Phone and phonein mean voice. Phonai and phonas mean voices. Our definite article also gets some new forms. Its chart from now on will look like this. Oops, that plural should be tacked on the end over there. So the masculine singular nominative is ha, masculine singular accusative is ton. Feminine singular nominative is hey, feminine singular accusative is tain, neuter singular nominative is ta, and neuter singular accusative is ta. Now here are the plurals. Masculine plural nominative is hoi, masculine plural accusative is tus. Now, if we were to go back to the last screen, we would find that oi is the ending for the masculine plural nominative for second declension nouns, and us is the ending for masculine plural accusative second declension nouns. So we can remember these because we've already learned the oi and we've already learned the us. I'll come back to why this doesn't have a tau in a moment. Feminine plural nominative is hi. Feminine plural accusative is tas. If we think back, our first declension feminine plural nominative ending was I, and our first declension feminine plural accusative ending was as. So again, if we ignore the tau for a moment here, the I and the as we can remember from the other set. Neuter plural nominative ta, neuter plural accusative ta. Again, for neuter, the nominative and the accusative are always the same. And we actually did see this ending is what was used in the for second declension nouns. So if we actually look at this whole thing here, now feminine first declension nouns could be alpha or eta here, but if we just go with the eta, if we ignore this spot right here where the neuter singulars are, all of these endings are exactly the same as what we find for the endings of first and second declension nouns. You'll notice, though, most of these words have a tau at the beginning, with the exception of these four right here. We're going to be adding two more lines to this eventually between the nominative and accusative. There'll be the genitive and the dative cases. For all of those, they will all begin with taus and they will all match what the first and second declension do. So really the only exception here is masculine and feminine in the nominative, both in the singular and the plural, don't get a tau, they get a rough breathing instead. Now, you may notice there are some accent marks on the rest of these. You don't need to worry about those accent marks. Just focus on these breathing marks on the masculine and feminine in the nominative. Those go in place of the tau. Everything else gets a tau, and everything else matches what the ending is for the first and second declension nouns, except for this ta. We see on with a new, the end sound, ton or on as the ending for second declension neuter singular nouns. So that is one exception right there, but that is the only exception to these endings matching very well. So if you memorize this, you know the other ones, or if you memorize the other ones, you can figure out these ones. Summary: memorize the new endings and the definite articles. And plural means more than one.